Hello there, my friends. Well, we just haven't been sitting around the garden this week. Do you want to know how to preserve basil and harvest your basil for your pastas for the winter? Do you want to know about your crazy sleeping patterns in the night, waking and sleeping like me? We've been doing all of that stuff. And I want you to look at my sweater. Look what I found out in my sweater tub. So if you do want to know about all these things we've been doing, stay tuned. We're going to have some fun.
Hi.
Good morning. So you don't want your date nut bread yet, huh? What I came into the garden for, came out early this morning after I came back. Shani and I had a great sleepover last night, by the way. And I came into the garden after I had my coffee. You were still sleeping. And I started deadheading. You know the birds are giving me competition. Do you hear them?
Yeah,
So I started deadheading all of these. Here's my question. As you can tell in our beautiful fall garden, we have a great number of and variety of marigolds and mums. And I noticed that many of the mums, like this one here and that, have gone in a matter of just a few days. And I think there might be some new buds on there. Even the ones in the back that were the big, glorious, round ones, so brilliant, they have died now. So I'm going to deadhead them. And my question is, for those of you who are real gardeners, not like me, will they come again this fall in California? We're in Southern California. Especially that one back there, Moose. Can you do a close-in of that? That one was a glorious, big, big, big round of color. And now it's gone. Now, on the other hand, I do have 2 chrysanthemums down the other end that haven't bloomed yet at all. And they are just coming out. Why the discrepancy in the bloom times? So that's my question, if anyone can help. Did I explain that right, Moose?
yes, but the bunny hole on that is back east on Thanksgiving. We took a date to the football game, and we gave them a
chrysanthemum.
And how big was it?
Big.
Which is a lot different than what we're growing here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they still do that today at football games? Do dates still give their football dates chrysanthemums to wear? It's so romantic. Shani and I are going to head out in a little while. She has some homework to do first. We get a great sleepover, but she and I are going to head out. She wants to go to a thrift shop, and I do have some things to return at Walmart.
You're not going to return those sunglasses, are you?
Oh, no. Don't you just love these ladies? Now, these are Walmart, too. So glabby, huh? And my crossbody, which I believe is also Walmart, I'm telling you, go to Walmart. You can look like $1 million and not spend any money at all. My corduroy jacket. For reference sake, this is one of the bushes that just started blooming yesterday or the day before. It's also a mum, and look at the leaves. This glorious little thing is a succulent. Isn't that beautiful? Now this is the other bush that is just starting to come out, and it's mums. See how I have all the buds.
We don't even know what color that's going to be.
You're right. I feel like I'm having a deja vu right now. I'm sitting in my car down in Newport at the Veterans Building where Moosey is finally getting his ears checked and trying to either get a new pair of hearing aids or to get the old ones fixed. I think I've told you that Moosey's hearing has been on the downswing for quite a while, and he hasn't been wearing any hearing aids at all because they're just not working. So we're hoping for his sake and mine, because you know what happens when you're trying to talk to someone who isn't wearing their hearing aids or something's wrong. I'm the one that's not speaking loud enough or whatever. So we'll be happy, both Moosey and I, when he gets new hearing aids, hopefully. So it's Monday morning, and I was up quite early this morning with my strange sleeping patterns. You know, I wanted to talk with a lot of you to find out if you're experiencing the same things that I am. As I got older, I used to, you know, as a teenager and a child, we could sleep anytime like that. I can't even snap my fingers anymore with the arthritis. But I guess over the past 10, maybe even 15 or 20 years, since I am in my 80s now, it's kind of hard to figure out when all these things began. But I can sleep for maybe 2-3 hours at a time, sometimes maybe 4, but then if it's nighttime and I wake up at 1, I will be awake for 3 hours and then go back again and maybe sleep another 2 hours. Sometimes I don't even go back again. It's impossible. I'll get up and have my coffee. But then as I research this, as you know, I am a very curious person, and that's part of living my best life. I like to keep learning every day, and I'm curious about everything, so I will look it up. Well, I found out a lot of things about growing older, aging, things like that. Like, for instance, little sniffles that you've had for years. Well, there's a reason for that too, about the nodules in your nose, and I'll tell you about that another time. But I found out that there are 2, sometimes 3 kinds of sleepers. And I don't know whether you want to know this information or not, but I do know that a lot of you have complained about your sleeping patterns too. And I think maybe you'd like to know this, that you're not crazy, that you're just one of those types of sleepers that it does happen to many, many people as you grow older. You know, there's an airport down here in Newport quite close to this, and you will hear the planes coming over, so there's nothing I can do about that. But anyway, back to the sleeping patterns. First of all, let me tell you a rabbit hole story about what happened back in the day in London and Paris, pre-Industrial Revolution days. So that takes us back. Well, there were 2 industrial revolutions that lasted until somewhere around 1915, even here in the United States. However, prior to all this, and possibly during this, when this happened to people, when they couldn't sleep all night long, it was evidently quite common. And in the big cities in Europe, particularly Paris and London, the tea shops and the shopping and the coffee shops would open up for 1 to 2, maybe 3 hours during that time of the night. And it was probably early in the morning, I would say maybe from 2 to 4 or something like that. And when people would wake up in the night, of course, remember in those days, because of no electricity and having to use candles, people did go to sleep a lot earlier. That when it got dark and they didn't have electricity to save on candles, they would just take their candle and go up and crawl into bed. So that was one reason for this sleeping, what we might call an irregularity, but as I found out, it's not really an irregularity. So they would get up and put all their clothes on. Of course, in those days, it probably took forever to put the corsets on and everything, their hats and their walking shoes. And they would go out and they would go to a tea house or a coffee house and have a sweet and maybe a cup of tea or something to eat. And maybe they might even go into a shop or two. Go home when they were finished, undress, get back into bed and sleep a couple of hours again. Now, this type of sleeping has a name. The two types of sleeping, this type of sleeping where you have two phases of sleeping is called biphasic sleep patterns. And if you sleep all through 8 or 9 hours or longer, you are called a monophasic sleeper. What do you think of that? Now, like babies or people who sleep 2 hours, wake up for a little while, go back to sleep again, and maybe do this throughout 24 hours and sleep a couple of hours, awake, sleep, they're called polyphasic sleepers. What kind of a sleeper are you? And if you're like me, don't feel so out of it now that we know that many people are just like us. And by the way, when I am awake during those times, I will either work on my iPad and answer comments, or I might get up and have a cup of coffee, something like that. Isn't that strange? Now, I would have thought that I never would have done something like that when I was younger, but our bodies change as we get older, and the point of all this is that we have to accept these changes. So many changes, but the sleeping patterns are a biggie. You just accept it and go with the flow. By the way, that beautiful shout out that Tamara from Tamara's Timeless Beauty, she gave me a shout out yesterday morning on her video, and I have received so many new subs. Thank you so much, Tamara. That's so generous of you. And I'm going to do some shout outs too, because I think that's such a generous thing for creators to do, is to help other people. And I'm going to do it too. I've done it in the past, and hopefully it's helped too. But I'm not one of those biggies, and but I'll do it anyway. There goes another plane, so I'm going to get off for a while. Well, as you know, I've been telling you, I've been trying to do the old switcheroo of winter clothes to bring them in, my summer clothes to go out. We live in a tiny 90-year-old adobe cottage here in Southern California, and it's small, and a lot of my wardrobes are switching out. We have a shed out there and a bunch of these big yellow tubs, which are the bane of my husband's and my family's existence, because I have a lot of tubs with a lot of stuff in them. We lived in a very big 5,000 square foot family home for years, and a lot of hobbies. I collect a lot of things, and I think one of these days the kids are going to put me into a purge, a big purge. But anyway, now maybe you have noticed this darling little ring. It's a silver ring that I picked up last week at the thrift shop, and I'm going to wear it a couple more times, and then it is going to our 7-year-old granddaughter Lizzie, one of Mikey's little girls. You might have seen Lizzie in a video just maybe 2 or 3 ago, when I was down there baking with the 2 little girls in San Diego, and Lizzie has a pet turtle. Her turtle's name is Speedy, and I even put Speedy on the video. So Lizzie will be getting this ring, and his name is already Speedy. Well, today's project, it's a nice day, sunny, not a cloud in the sky. Lucy and I are outside. It's hot, but we are going to, at Lucy's suggestion, harvest the basil. Now, we have tons of basil here, and as you know, basil will be dying out probably in another week or 2, and Lucy has discovered a way of preserving it so that we can use it all winter long. So, while our son Billy and his wife Bonnie are up in Idaho harvesting these gorgeous grapes, and I will put some B-roll on to we are going to be harvesting the basil. So here I go. Now we have two big bushes here of two different kinds of basil. This is pretty much going to seed right now, and when it develops those flowers on the top, you know you have to keep cutting those off. These are smaller leaves. This might be the cinnamon basil, and back here we have sweet basil, which are bigger leaves and smell entirely different. Over here we have another basil that somehow got mixed in with the tomatoes. And what we'll be doing...
I think we should stick with the sweet.
You want to stick with the sweet?
Yeah.
Just that. Okay, I'm cutting nice big long stalks off for you.
Yep.
Now, Moosey's job, tell them what you are going to be doing.
I'm going to be taking the leaves off.
Right.
We put the leaves in a spot here. Ooh, it smells so good.
Aren't they great?
Yeah.
You can smell them from feet away.
Ta-da!
What do you think of my 10-year-old clogs? The wooden clogs, definitely giraffe print. And I'll tell you more, there's going to be a B-roll about these things.
Oh boy, a whole B-roll.
I bet you're excited, Moose.
Oh, I can't wait.
Okay, so here we go. I'm going to give them to you and you can start. I'll keep harvesting and you can start.
It's not that complicated, is it?
Nope. Here's that big giant one.
Ooh, that is a giant.
That's a rogue that started to grow in a tomato plant pot. I know.
What do I get paid for this?
Was your suggestion that we do this? It's a lot more boring than picking grapes. I'm sure we both wish we were up in Idaho for harvest time with Billy.
Makes good spaghetti.
Oh, they're having a ball, but this will be nice in our pasta and various other things. Now, I have other recipes for basil pesto and things like that, but that takes some time. So we're going to experiment with this.
Well, it was my idea, so I guess I'm stuck with it.
You are. Okay, I'll join in to help this process get along.
Good spaghetti, though.
Yep. Now, what's the next step?
And on this plate here, just the leaves, and put them in the freezer for 30 minutes. And after 30 minutes, you'll feel them, they're frozen. Take it out and put it in a freezer-proof bag. You're set to go. Come December, you have some good basil.
Now, I have just washed all the basil leaves. I put them in a colander, and I've washed them in two groups so that I didn't bunch too many of them together. And now, I guess I'm letting them dry. I have to find out if they go into the freezer wet or do they have to dry out. And here's the first batch that is back in the plate after having been washed. Here's the catch. I have a freezer full of food that is only 12 inches wide, long but wide. This pan just fits in the freezer. So we'll see. Maybe I'll put one, maybe I can get two in at the same time. So I have two batches of basil. We'll see if this experiment comes out. Now Moosey has pulled all the leaves off. I have taken the basil inside, blanched it in a colander. The next process is to drizzle a little olive oil on all these basil leaves, mainly because if you put them into the freezer without olive oil, supposedly they turn black. So we don't want that to happen. So we're going to drizzle them with olive oil, and then I have to lay them flat on a pan. So it's going to take a lot of pans in the freezer, and this just about fits in. So maybe I can get a couple in if I take some stuff out. And then you put them in a freezer bag, like Moosey says, and we have basil all winter on our pasta. So now my outfit of the day is very simply just jeans, a jeans shirt. You can get these at Marshall's, you can get them at TJ's, but I get all mine at Thrift or Walmart. And the jeans are probably Walmart. I'm not wild about the torn up ones, but they were there. And my clogs. So off I go. I've oiled all the basil leaves. There are 2 or 3 dishes of basil in the freezer now. Takes forever to lay them flat in the pan. There they are, stacked up, and I have muffin tins separating the pans because they're not supposed to get crushed in there. Oh my gosh, it worked. Look, can you hear them? The crunch. They're frozen as can be after 30 minutes, and they're as green as when I put them in, so the olive oil saved them from turning black. Now I have to race and put them in the freezer bag. The frozen bag of 3 plates of basil leaves, still as green as ever. And guess what? I finally made that chai spiced latte that you and I have been talking about for a long time. Well, we are about to begin to make my chai latte with the Drink Me Chai spiced chai latte mixture. And I thought that my outfit was very appropriate because you drink chai latte to get cozy warm. So I have a cozy warm outfit to celebrate. Now I also have a little bit left of our date nut bread. We've been savoring it, and I'll have a slice of that with cheese. I'll have my chai latte, and I'll just go in and sit down and pretend that I have a big fire going in my little fairy tale world, while it still is probably in the 80s here in California. So I have a rose from my garden, one of the beautiful fragrant ones. It's gorgeous. Take a cup of milk and heat it up on the stove. I then will froth it with my machine, and in the meantime I put 3 spoonfuls, and I believe it's a tablespoonful of the chai mixture into my cup. Now, if you were making this from scratch, you would probably go ahead with no worries, it's only copper. If you were making this without the supplement here, without the mixture, you'd be using cinnamon, nutmeg, cloves, cardamom, ginger, all sorts of wonderful spices. And I don't know whether it's called masala when it's spiced, or is that something different. But anyway, I am looking forward to it. And just in case it doesn't have enough spices, when I get the froth milk on the top, I might even add some of my True Whip. As you know, I'm a True Whip fanatic. And I might put some of that on top, and then put some extra ground nutmeg and cinnamon on top. So, let's begin. I just put 3 teaspoonfuls of the mixture in my big cup, my Think Positive cup. And I poured 1 cup of milk in, and that's all it seems to take, which means it's probably only going to fill up half that cup. So I'm going to transfer it to my nice little pumpkin cup, and I think it's going to go better. Well, I have my immersion blender ready to go. However, I'm afraid it's going to explode everything all off. I wish I could find my frother. Ooh, it seems to be working. Well, it didn't froth up real big, but let's see what happens. There's the froth. See it? Oh, let me show you. This is my spiced chai latte. And look at the froth. And I do love the nutmeg. I'm gonna put some of that on top. Right? Doesn't this look good? And a little bit of cinnamon. Now, here's the taste test. Ooh, So excited. Warm me up. Oh, I love it. I really love it. You can't really understand unless you've smelled it and tasted it, but it's a lovely, and I believe it's more an English drink than it is an American drink. Of course, it's the spices are Indian, and I think if you love tea, like the English do, and my Scottish friends, then you will love this. Now you can also do this iced, where you would just put ice cubes and put cold milk in, but I think I prefer the hot. So cheers to all my friends and to all the accomplishments that we've had this past week, all the fun we've had, and it's really quite a bit easier than making it yourself. Now, if any of you make it yourself, do it and let me know how it is, because I think I might continue to do that. Now, I have cut myself a piece of my Vermont Country Store Dayton nut bread with cream cheese on top, and so good. Now my outfit of the morning, my fairy tale outfit that I just had to put on in this California 85-degree weather this morning, is a scarf from last Christmas that is ribbed to match my cream sweater. I have several cream sweaters and don't need that anymore. And a lovely vest, or a gilet, as the English call them, that was given to me by Debbie also last Christmas. And it's from the Land's End catalog. And every year they have these vests or gilets, and they're in all sorts of colors. I must have probably 8 or 10 different vests that I've had over the last 20 years living here in this cottage. And they're probably the most practical garment that I wear here in California. The sweater is from my collection. It's just a wool ribbed, once again, ribbed sleeves. I think the whole thing is ribbed. No collar on this one. I got it on Amazon, and I found it on a channel that I watch all the time. It's called Josie, the fashion mumbler, and she's a young 30-year-old British gal. She and her hubby live in the magnificent Cotswolds, which we've been to and stayed in for a while and adore. I love the life, the country style, and they garden. They have a beautiful garden. He cooks, they travel everywhere, and I totally live vicariously through Josie. Josie, the fashion mumbler. Now I'm going to show you my outfit for the day. I do know that I think probably most of our viewers are from back east or the Midwest, and you're already in your sweaters and your warmer gear. And all of you Jersey gal pals of mine, we're building up quite a crew of us now. I'm sure you're all waltzing around in your nice, cool sweaters and jackets. Wish I was there with you guys. Well, I hate to tell you this, but today it's in the 90s here in Southern California. Now, they do tell us that we're bopping down into the 50s and even at night into the 40s next week. I'm having trouble trying to believe that, but if it's coming, I'm ready for that too. I've got my t-shirts too. So that's why I'm trying to dig out the sweaters and wear them. I might have some perspiration forming under the eyeballs, but I'm okay. So I do want to show you my half summer, half winter wardrobe and how my matchy things are shaping up. I don't really worry about it. It's just fun when I do find something that goes with a pair of booties or something that I've had for a while. My sweater now is several years old. When I pulled it out of the tub out there, I did think maybe I had bought this in Scotland a couple of years ago. But when I looked at the label, it's a Liz Claiborne woman sweater with some sparkles in it. And everywhere I go, teenagers comment on my fun sweater. So let me just show you the sweater. you gals from the West Coast will be in these for real. This is part of my fairy tale living right now. I'm dreaming of wearing all this, and it'll happen soon. I do want to thank you so much for watching our videos, and welcome to all my lovely new friends that have come from Tamara's Timeless Beauty. Tamara is like one of my kids. She is a love, and she and I have been corresponding, well, not corresponding, but just making comments back and forth, and I've really come to dearly love her. So, Tamara, I thank you once again, and you ladies, thank you for stopping by and joining our little virtual family. Stay tuned for one of our next videos. I am going to talk about fashion, particularly shoes. You know, I am a shoe fanatic, even though I can't wear the big ones anymore. But I have some news about some shoes and about my collection of these types of shoes. You know, my daughter always talked about shoes. Colleen, who is a fashionista in her own right, and she always wore the big high heels. And she always said, fashion before function, Mom. So we always squeezed our toes into all of those shoes that were fashionable at the time. But I think you'll enjoy this video coming up, and I hope it'll be one of my next ones. So bye for now. See you all soon. My love and appreciation for everything to all of you. Bye for now. God bless us all. Go get yourself a chai spiced latte.